From WNIJ Studios on the campus of Northern Illinois University, this is Sessions from Studio A. I'm Spencer Tritt, and we have a special guest this week. Joining us from just across campus, it's Banda NIU, with a performance recorded live coming to you this hour. It's a newer group for the School of Music. They've been around for about 3 years now. And later this hour, we'll talk with director Dr. Christopher Scanlon and members of the group about getting the program started and about how this traditional sound is making its way into modern music with artists like Peso Pluma, Nathaniel Cano, and many others. It's Banda NIU coming up this hour on Sessions from Studio A. Welcome to Sessions from Studio A. I'm Spencer Tritt. Sessions from Studio A is a showcase for local and touring artists here in Northern Illinois, Southern Wisconsin, and beyond. We record their live performances here in WNIJ's Studio A and bring the concerts to you wherever you're listening in from. This week, our guest is Banda NIU from Northern Illinois University's School of Music. We'll hear them recorded live in Studio A, and later on we'll talk with members of the group and their director, Dr. Christopher Scanlon. But first, let's get into the music. This is Banda NIU with El Sinaloense on Sessions from Studio A.
ver que mi llanto formaba un arroyo del nido negado, donde yo te recuerdo querer.
This is Sessions from Studio A, and you just heard NIU Banda joining us in Studio A, playing live. Thank you all for coming out today. Can you all introduce yourself and tell us what you're playing in the group, what your role is here?
Hi, my name is Dr. Christopher Scanlon. I am the trumpet professor at NIU. I also direct Banda and Mariachi, and it's such a pleasure to work with these students. I'll let them introduce themselves to you now.
I'm Axel Solorzano, and in the banda, I play charcheta and güiro.
Hi, I'm Michaela Jackson, and I'm one of 2 clarinet ones.
Hi, I'm Coco Reardon, and this is my second year being a vocalist in Banda Mariachi.
And I'm Jonathan Schweitzer, and I play the tuba.
Holding down that bass for
Yes,
us
sir.
today.
Not just the tuba, the sousaphone.
Sousaphone. Oh, yeah.
Sousaphone.
Super fancy.
Right. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of the history of Banda music. But first, I want to get a little bit of your history and the history of this program at NIU. So, Chris, how did this Banda group get started at NIU? How did you get involved with it? And tell us a little bit about how this group kind of got going at the school.
Yeah, this will be an easy version of this because I've had to say it in Spanish before, and my Spanish is okay, but it's not 100% fluid, and that's because I lived in Mexico for a year after I graduated from college. I played in a symphony orchestra there, and I fell in love with the music and the culture, and of course the food and the people, and was really inspired to kind of carry that with me wherever I went after that. So I lived in Houston for a little while, and then in New York City, and I started a group there called Banda NIU. And that was a ton of fun. A good friend of mine who happened to be an opera singer is from Sinaloa in western Mexico, and he lived 10 blocks from me, and we played an opera together and became friends and started hatching this plan to play Banda music in uptown Manhattan. And I was able to work with him and learn a lot about the style and work with some of his friends from where he came from, who were very generous and gave us some arrangements, mostly from Julio Lizárraga, whose family is one of the founding families of this genre of music from Sinaloa, Latin Grammy-winning arranger and composer. And so when I got hired as the assistant professor of trumpet here at NIU, I got the blessing of those friends to use some of that music and to start a program here. And this is, I guess, our 3rd full year. The first year in the pandemic and COVID, we weren't really able to do it. We did a trial run and just to kind of make it an idea in some people's minds. And then by the following fall, it was a class that folks register for now and get credit for and have a fantastic time doing it. We treat the ensemble like chamber music, and so students are learning those basic chamber music skills of how to play together without a director per se, and how to listen and balance and blend, and to do that in a variety of different styles that they wouldn't otherwise do in maybe their more traditional classical chamber music settings. And we play a bunch of concerts around campus and out in the community to try to illustrate our love for this music and for this culture on the campus at NIU.
Fantastic. And I want to kind of throw that question to everyone else too. So tell us a little bit about how you first got interested in Banda music and started playing this.
Well, I'm Mexican, so I grew up with this music my whole life. I listened to it in parties at my house, and before coming to NIU, I played trumpet. I think that's what I played my first semester, right? Mm-hmm. I played trumpet in Banda, and I started playing charcheta last year. And yeah, that's how I got into it.
What's the charcheta?
The charcheta is an alto E-flat horn. They also call it saxor, charcheta 2 in Spanish, and they fill in like the harmony, like kind of like the guitar part, like just the part of the rhythm section.
It's kind of like if the left hand on the piano is playing the bass line, then the tuba, the right hand is playing the upper parts of the chord on the charcheta. It's a, they might call it a peck horn. It comes also from British brass band tradition. You'll see it there.
Yeah, but it don't sound like British music.
Not at all. And Michaela, was it you?
Yes.
Tell us how you first got exposed to banda.
So it would have been last year or 2 years ago. My co-clarinet one, Anthony DeVeo, was like, hey, we need another clarinet. I was like, what for? And they're like, for banda. I was like, okay, sure, whatever that is. I'll show up. And all of a sudden, I was playing clarinet and tenor saxophone and having the time of my life because it's making me work on my sight reading of like looking music for the first time and just playing it and seeing if I could do it, which luckily I have been able to. And just getting to be around a different culture that I'm not familiar with, that's also been a really fun part.
And so, do you have a background in band or jazz or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm a big jazz player. I've been playing since my freshman year of high school, and then I got to pick up a tenor saxophone my sophomore year of high school.
Very cool, because I'm curious about how playing in a banda group is different than playing in like a marching band or something.
I say it's really similar to jazz band, in which like it's only a few people per part, usually one, and having to listen in, hear where you need to come in. Like I listen to Coco a lot, try to figure out where I need to place my clarinet interests based off her singing or off the trumpet part, or et cetera, et cetera.
And Coco, tell us how you got involved with banda, and tell us how you started singing too.
I just think I've sang for as long as I could sing.
All
It's
right.
like the most stereotypical answer, but I have.
I think it'd be great if you could state kind of what your major is at school or what you're mainly studying, because that'll kind of show.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a music education major, and I always did band and choir all throughout high school, like did both evenly, and have always sang. I also sang in like church band growing up. So that's a big part of where I learned how to harmonize and sing was kind of orally. But yeah, so now when I got to college, I kind of had to pick because I play oboe. And so I have to play in band and orchestra, so there's no time for me to do choir anymore. So I heard one of my friends that I knew, Steffi, she used to sing in banda, and I saw a video of her one day and she sounded great. And I was like, what is that? I didn't know we had this group. And so then I started to come last year. And yeah, I'm Mexican as well. And so on my mom's side, and she was raised in Mexico. So I'm not fluent in Spanish yet, but it's the goal. But my entire family is, and they were so excited. And because I grew up hearing a lot of mariachi music too. And I have memories of hearing live performances when I would go to Mexico. And so it's a lot of really good memories tied to it for me. And it's a way for me to be able to have something to talk about with my family more, get to practice speaking Spanish more, and getting to practice singing and performing. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, in terms of our majors, I am a music education major with a math endorsement, so I can teach math as well.
I'm a music ed student too.
And then, yeah, I'm also music education. Growing up, a lot of my friends, I lived in a very Mexican town. A lot of my friends listen to this kind of music. And when I would go to the parties and I'd see these sousaphone players, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. How are they making these sounds? Because growing up, I played tuba. I played, my main instrument, as I study euphonium here, which is pretty much a tuba, just plays an octave higher. So growing up, seeing these guys do something totally different than the style of music that I was used to hearing was so cool. And when I found out that NIU had a banda, I knew I had to be a part of it.
Banda NIU, recorded live right here in WNIJ's Studio A. It's time for a short break, but you can find more about the group over on their Facebook page, Banda NIU, and they're also on Instagram. If you like what you hear, see them playing live November 18th, this Saturday, at NIU's Boutel Memorial Concert Hall at 7 p.m. And stay with us here on Sessions from Studio A for more of their live performance and our talk with members of Banda NIU. This is Sessions from Studio A.
Ni tendrás más amores conmigo.
Welcome back to Sessions from Studio A on WNIJ. It's our session with Banda NIU. In a little bit, we'll hear more from my talk with director Dr. Christopher Scanlon and members of the group. But first, let's get back into Studio A for more music. It's Banda NIU this hour on Sessions from Studio A.
¿Qué me vas a dar si vuelvo? Que merezca el sacrificio. Porque el día que nos dejamos lo entendí como al final. Presumías de amores nuevos, yo no sé si para herirme. Si lo hiciste de mentiras, yo sí lo hice de verdad. Mientras tú salías de mi alma, otro amor se iba metiendo. Y se me hace muy difícil olvidarlo y regresar. Pero déjame pensarlo, aunque no prometo nada. Pero tú también, si vuelvo, dime qué me vas a dar. Nadie me pasa sin nada, y hay quien viva de ilusiones. Si otras ganan por lo que hacen, yo también quiero ganar. No me gustan las mancuernas, ni querer a dos a un tiempo. El que sirve dos amores con algo no quiere más. Pero déjame pensarlo, aunque no prometo nada. Pero tú también, si vuelvo, dime qué me vas a dar. Nadie da pasos en tarde, y hay quien viva de ilusiones. Si otras
let's get a little history on banda music here. Tell us a little bit about where this music comes from.
Yeah, so we actually had some guests work with us last spring from a renowned Chicago folkloric ensemble called Sones de Mexico, and they did a whole presentation to help us understand more about the history of it. You know, there were instruments that were imported, violins and trumpets and tubas and things like that into Mexico more than 100 years ago, and became used in town bands and military bands, and in the same way that they did in the band tradition in the United States. And as the story goes, there was one particular festival in New Orleans where a Mexican band went up to play, and they were so amazing that everyone just couldn't stop talking about this one particular band. And I think the program grew and grew and grew, and over time started to play more of the popular music of the day. And it continued, I think, throughout the 20th century until it started to become more commercialized. And there's a lot of modern banda that's incorporating all kinds of different popular music styles, including cumbia and bolero and bachata and all kinds of stuff. And so there's kind of a real mixing now, and there's elements of some of the instruments from banda that you might hear on the charts now in other styles. So it's a really rich time that we're in now, where these styles are mixing and creating all kinds of new things. But it does come out of a traditional kind of concert band style that got smaller and smaller, and playing popular tunes, and all of the famous singers and artists from many different generations in Mexico, you know, Juan Gabriel or Pedro Infante or all kinds of artists, you know, played a lot of their most popular songs with banda, just like they would with mariachi. And so we share a similar repertoire, but the instrumentation is always all wind instruments. And so we don't have guitars and we don't have violins. And I relish that challenge for students, trying to find a way to sustain hour-long set of pretty intense music just as wind players, without having any kind of electrification or any kind of guitars to help carry the load.
One thing that it really surprised me when I first heard this, but then the more I thought about it, it made sense. I heard that polka music was a big influence early on in this kind of style. And at first I was like, what? And then you think about the sousaphone, the way the bass kind of has that oompop sound.
Yeah, polka and boleros. Boleros too was like kind of like the most primitive version of anything, and it came from mariachi too. I feel like boleros was kind of like the first thing that kind of brought regional mexicano together like that, because he was talking about how these mix, and they do mix, because a lot of banda songs that are known are like folk songs too, that mariachis play, that norteños also play. So it's kind of songs that like all these genres kind of play together too.
I love that. So yeah, banda's not exclusive and mariachi's not exclusive. They can kind of blend a little bit.
I mean, banda's an instrumentation and it's also a genre. So it's kind of it's kind of both. And the thing I was going to say a minute ago that I just remembered was that there's a lot of different banda styles from all over Mexico, different regional styles. Most of them, especially in the south, in Oaxaca or in Michoacan, are more like concert band styles. And we worked with some artists from Sones de Mexico to play some of that music last semester. But we're working principally in kind of the popular music version or instrumentation of this, which comes from Sinaloa, which usually has 3 trumpets, 3 clarinets, 3 trombones, and the altos, tuba, singers, and percussion. So
Gotcha. But different regions can sort of have their own styles as well.
Their own band traditions, really.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of touched on this a little bit, Chris, talking about how things are blending together and with modern music. I've recently started listening to a lot of these newer artists from Mexico. I've been obsessed with Peso Pluma lately.
What have you been listening to?
Nathaniel Cano, Peso Pluma is like my favorite lately. And so what do you think about kind of that mixing of the traditional but with the modern also?
It's like it's been like a slow mix. It's like been little by little. Like I remember like Peso Pluma, that could be kind of considered a sierreño instrumentation, because the lead instrument is the 12-string guitar, and that's kind of what marks it as a sierreño. But sierreños have been slowly adding just a couple instruments at a time. Like it used to be just bass, like just the upright bass.
Right.
Then they started adding tuba, electric bass, and little by little they started adding a trombone, then charchetas too, and then and then it also comes from like groups doing duets too, like big groups. Like if there's a sierreño that wants to do a duet with a norteño, they'll fuse together and mix between there, and then they'll do it with bandas too. And I feel like that kind of inspired a lot of artists to like include those instruments in their bands and stuff like that.
Wow.
I was just going to say that we are definitely students of these styles and art forms here that, and I'm always trying to find a way to expand my knowledge base. And, I know a lot about wind instruments and how they work, but I know less about percussion. And so I've had to rely on some of my colleagues and to do a lot of my own research to figure out, like, how does a cumbia really work for the exact song we're playing? Because there are all these slight regional differences in how that could be played, depending on whether it's from a Tejano group, a Norteño group, whether it's banda from Sinaloa, and on and on. So, a lot of reverence for all these different styles and trying to figure out how to do them justice. And it's a lot of fun.
What exactly is a cumbia?
Good question. I was wondering that
It's
too.
like a style of song. It's
Yeah.
meant to make people dance. And
Okay.
They usually do it in partners, and there's like complicated moves that go along with it. Everybody has their own style to that dance style too, but that's the main purpose of the cumbia, is to get people dancing.
It has like a very particular beat.
Yeah. That's what the widows for.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
We've had amazing luck when we were doing high school tours and we got to watch the kids do that because they're familiar with the music. That was a really fun thing, watching them get up and actually dance.
Yeah. And the cumbia, I mean, I'm no musicologist here, but the cumbia, originates from Colombia, and in Colombia it originates even from immigrants from Africa bringing certain rhythmic styles and instruments to create that, and then it became wildly popular all throughout Mexico, and there's a whole bunch of different kinds of cumbia even within regional Mexican music.
Going back to what Axel said too, I just feel like it's really cool to get like this like kind of mix of a sound that like artists like Peso Pluma are doing is cool, because now you're seeing like Latino music like in the American charts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, that's a really cool thing, and it's more people from here are getting to hear that style of music, getting to hear Mexican music, so that's really cool.
And then more people from here are creating that style of music and adding to regional, even though they're here in the United States.
You are hearing my talk with members of Banda NIU and the group's director, Dr. Christopher Scanlon. This is Sessions from Studio A, and we'll be back in just 1 minute here with more of their live performance in Studio A and our interview. It's Banda NIU, this hour on Sessions from Studio A. Welcome back to Sessions from Studio A with Banda NIU from Northern Illinois University's School of Music. The group has been going strong for about 3 years now. And if you like what you've been hearing this hour, you can see them live this Saturday, November 18th at NIU's Boutel Memorial Concert Hall. That's at 7 p.m. And let's get back into more music now with their performance recorded live here at WNIJ Studios. It's Banda NIU on Sessions from Studio A.
Yo sé que tienes un nuevo amor, sin embargo te deseo lo mejor. Si en mí no encontraste felicidad, Todo aquel que piensa que la vida es igual tiene que saber que no es así, que la vida es una hermosura. Hay que vivirla. Todo aquel que piensa que está sola y que está mal tiene que saber que no es así, que la vida es sola. Siempre alguien hay, no hay que llorar, que la vida es un carnaval. Es más feo vivir cantando. No hay que llorar, que la vida es un carnaval. Es más feo vivir cantando. No hay que llorar, que la vida es un carnaval. Es más feo vivir cantando.
So you guys have a concert coming up on November 18th. Tell us a little bit about where that's going to be, what people can expect for that. Tell us about this concert coming up.
Yeah, excellent. So that's going to be our featured concert of the semester. Like I said, we've been playing some concerts in the community and in some schools and working on this repertoire and here in the studio for this event. And so that'll be our big concert for the semester. It'll feature both Banda NIU, which you've heard today on the radio, as well as Mariachi NIU. Some of the members play in both, and that'll be in Bootel Memorial Concert Hall in the School of Music on the campus of NIU at 7 p.m. on Saturday, November 18th. We would love to see everybody there. Come out and check it out and hear some great music. You can get tickets, I think, on the NIU School of Music website.
Awesome. NIU School of Musical website. Head over there for tickets. And tell us, we're kind of getting towards the end of the semester already. Time has just been flying by this fall. Tell us a little bit about what else is coming up for the end of the semester.
I mean, in the School of Music, we have a whole host of concerts that you can find on the School of Music calendar there. Our jazz bands and the Philharmonic Orchestra. We have 2 brass concerts coming up. We have choir concerts and choir with brass. We'll play some holiday music. So all that's on the calendar there. This ensemble, Banda, continues to try to make connections with the community. So when this airs, it will be after this, so I can't really promote it. But tomorrow we're playing for the very first DeKalb Dia de los Muertos celebration downtown. And it's just been really exciting to try to build community partners for events like that, and bring people together through this music.
For as far as the concert, if people come, which would be awesome, I feel like most of the audience that usually comes to our concerts is used to like band and orchestra concerts where you have to sit very quietly and like be very polite. And when my mom came to our concert the first time, I was like, Mom, you're embarrassing me because nobody does that. So if you do come, you can expect a party. This is party music,
I
and
love
so
it.
you got to dance and have
Dance.
fun, and it's lively.
Let's go.
So that my mom's not the only one doing that.
I love it. People dancing in Bootel
Yep.
Memorial Concert Hall. That is a beautiful sight right there. That's fantastic. One more thing before I let you guys go here. I have to encourage people to check out the video, the behind-the-scenes video on WNIJ.org and on our YouTube, to see the whole group and also to see these amazing jackets. You guys are one of the best looking groups that we've had in the studio in a while.
Fine musicians with these jackets on. Ain't nobody ever seen us like nothing.
Thank you guys so much again for coming out and performing for us. Everybody go see them November 18th at NIU. NIU Banda, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Desde la guitarra mía, al despertar la mañana, quiere cantar su alegría a mi tierra mexicana. Trae tus volcanes, a tus praderas y flores, que son como talismanes del amor de mis amores. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. Que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti. En la sierra, al pie de los Magallanes, y que me cubra esta tierra, que es cuna de hombres cabales. Al despertar la mañana, quiere cantar su alegría a mi tierra mexicana. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti, que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. Que digan que estoy dormido y que me traigan aquí. México lindo y querido, si muero lejos de ti.
Banda NIU, recorded live in WNIJ's Studio A. That will bring an end to our hour of music with the group Thanks so much to them for joining us and to you for listening in. Once again, you can catch them performing live this weekend. That's November 18th at 7 p.m. at NIU's Boutel Memorial Concert Hall. Find tickets on the School of Music's website. That's niu.edu/music. Also, keep up with the group on Facebook and Instagram at Banda NIU, and find our behind-the-scenes video of them performing in Studio A over on WNIJ.org. Just click on Sessions from Studio A under the Music tab. If you're in a band or you know a local artist you'd like to hear on our show, send us a submission by emailing us at sessions@niu.edu. Send us in some music and we would love to hear from you. Sessions from Studio A is produced at WNIJ Studios on the campus of Northern Illinois University. Producers are Mike Lundgren and yours truly. I'm Spencer Tritt. Thanks so much for joining us, and I will see you next time on another edition of Sessions from Studio A.